Much obliged to have you stay with us on the show. TMI, beautiful Monday morning with yours sincerely, Sonny Duke Okosun. Well, from the statistics made available by Civil Society Coalition, which consists of over 100 civil society, over 2,000 people have died in Nigeria from the first quarter statistics. Already you know we're in the second quarter, and just yesterday, over 19 people between Rivers and Akwa Ibom State also died. I mean, that seems to be the daily trend. Sadly, though, we're back to the peak of the COVID-19. We're looking at these figures. But today, there seems to be a shift from COVID to insecurity. From insecurity, now we get daily updates of deaths and all of that. It's really, really quite sad. I'd like to thank my guest already in the studio, Harrison Ezeko Comrade, civil society activist, former member of Oredo Legislative Arm. Harrison, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me, good morning viewers.
Okay, now, there's always this burning question that agitates the minds of every anchor of a current affairs program anytime you want to start a conversation like this. How did we get it? I mean, how did we get here? How did this come to be in our country?
Well, my brother, is very sad. You see, every day you wake up, you view your television, social media, you are seeing death everywhere. How did we get here? It was not as bad as this. We have to be sincere to ourselves. It has been there, but we have not seen it this way. And you are aware that when this thing started, during the 2015 election, they built up to that election. There were so much threats from everywhere. If you run this election, this will happen, that will happen. And from that area, some persons try to encourage some people who will defend them. Should be case the election is being rigged. And those people came with the mindset, unfortunately, even though they said never believe that they will win the election. But as God will have it, they won. And the man at the center became the president. Being from an ethnic group in Nigeria who people are perceived from evidence that they are the major people actually doing this, carrying out this activity. And the man felt that they are my people. They supported me. Don't worry, we'll have a way, we'll soon talk to them. And these people started little by little. Before you know it, they have gotten their structure, they have their base, they were already everywhere. And now you are not trying to tell them to leave. You are not saying story because they've enjoyed it, they've understood. To them today is business. You kidnap, money is being paid. Somebody gets richer. Money from that is being taken to several places. Maybe some of them, their family don't even live here. They are funding their family elsewhere where they live. So today is business. It has gotten out of hand. Some of those governors will be put then and senator that these people were the one behind this scene, but nobody says anything. Nobody talk to them. But now, including those who were hating them before, everybody is looking for where to put their heads because the people now have sponsors. They already have a financial base. If they have been collecting money all this while, they can buy anything. They have healers. They have army uniform. They buy weapons. They even get support outside this country. So therefore, what we need now to put a stop to this is for the president himself to be proactive. The system we are using now is not working. You remember Sonny Duke when they changed the service chiefs when you brought me here, I told you that nothing will change. It's just a change. They must do something different from what they have been doing. In as much as nothing different has been done, we are going to be where we are. And today, the situation is worse. There is nowhere in this country that you can stand and say you are safe, apart from those who live in the commercial city in Abuja. Because if you lived in that place, you don't even think there's problem in Nigeria. I was there last weekend. When you drive through the city in Abuja, you don't even think that there's problem in Nigeria. Okay. And that is why they are not taking actions. Because they are living comfortably, they are being secure. All the security apparatus are everywhere there. But those of the people who live in Asket, who live in other states, what do we do?
Yeah, you were where recently?
I was in Abuja last week.
Okay.
I even when I visited my friend at Asokoro, I'm telling you, my brother, those people who live there, They don't believe that there's problem in Nigeria. When I was discussing with him, I was asking me, I said, leave those things. It can't happen here. Because you see the street, it look as if you live
in the UK, or US.
That is the way they designed that place. My 4 days in that place, and there's nothing that power failure. So how do you expect these people to think the way we are thinking?
Yeah.
So not until they move themselves out of that place to come to some of this area where you don't get out for 5 days, where you cannot sleep and close your eye, I don't think they will take action. They can go to the division to cry, but they are going back to their base there. Everywhere is secured. The guy was even giving me a there was an incident when they said there was an helicopter up that was even chasing over somebody who took over somebody's vehicle. Can that one happen here? So it's the same country. So, sir, we are in a dilemma. The situation is nothing. It's not something you should close your eye over. Look at what happened in River State. Our people here, although they said it's happened, they are targeting the security personnel. They are not killing the way the Boko Haram is killing. They are burning police station. I think what they are trying to do is to destroy the security architecture in those areas, so that they can invade the place. The police, they are supposed to train them.
Yeah.
They are attacking the police and they are almost overwhelming them. I can't imagine what happened in the east. They have common boundary. I expect that at that area there should be more security. For them to not meet them on the way and kill 3 persons, burn down their vehicle, go to the station again, burn down the place, and burn down policemen inside. I think something is wrong somewhere.
Okay, let's quickly look at a major talking point as it relates to insecurity. I've heard people talk about this. Bandits, insurgents, and what have you, kidnap, ransom gets paid. Many a time this ransom is in the millions. At least you've seen money before. You know what it means to have 50 million, 20 million. I mean, where does this money go to? Well, the feeling is that if we can cut off, all right, the supply, and how they're able to take these monies and do the things that they do, perhaps that will be a starting point in dealing with this issue. Calling off financiers of terrorism or terrorist acts in Nigeria. What do you make of this as one of the planks for the solution of insecurity?
Well, my brother, you see, the issue of paying ransom for kidnapping, you see, because we are talking about human life here, and for me personally, I wouldn't support the government to continue to give these people money. They are already seeing in that government will pay, and once government begin to give them money, this thing will not stop, because they see it as a business making venture. That is what El-Rufai wanted to do, but unfortunately they overwhelm him. They now target his state, and the people are crying, because if they kidnap your person, if the government is not going to bring money, you will go and look for money elsewhere to release the person. Now let's look at how do they collect this money. That is my fear. If somebody is going to carry 20 million naira or 15 million naira, it's going to be in maybe 2 or 3 several Ghana must go.
Okay.
And now you are going to drive through the road. The person that is going to collect this money is not coming with pulley van. He's going to collect this money from me at a particular spot. Then maybe they will go and count. They will not release their victim. Now, are we saying that our security architecture, in the process of giving out this money, we cannot actually track these people? That is my fear. Because I can't imagine that somebody will carry money running into millions. You will go and give it to a young man in the jungle. The people will count and say the money is complete. They will now move down and go and release the victim, and they will take the money away. So that is our fear. That is it that there is a connection?
Okay.
Is it that some people are aiding and abetting? Is it that some people are so benefiting from that same money they want to go and deliver? Because I know that it is easy at that level. So if somebody even told me that they can track those money. If American army can come to Nigeria to rescue somebody from their place, how do they know the whereabouts of the person? The person that is calling is going to use my cell phone. They said no, they will use the victim's number. Say, when they use the victim's number, you will still know where they are, because they are standing with the victim. So, what is the security agency doing at the level of their technology Because what they tell us is that they can monitor your phone, they can track you where you are. Why can't they track these people? If they have released the victim, you know where they collected this money from, and they've not released the victim, surround that place. They are not going to move there. They're not going to vanish that money. But yet, they will give out money. Even security agents, we escort them down to go and deliver the money. Everybody will go. Those people will take the money. They will go scot-free. They will come to the city and buy food for their victim. They will come out. They will even go to banks and send money to their family. They will even go and pay that money into the bank. Because the number of them that they've arrested, they cannot tell that the money they are getting, they keep it inside the bush. So, the security agency, they need to rise up. They need to work and be proactive. They should think outside the box. They know how to do all these things. But for me, I think that something is still wrong somewhere. There is no full directive. That is my belief. Because if I look at the Nigerian army, when Obasanjo give order, when they were kidnapping the Niger Delta, when the army took over Bayelsa State, it looked as if it was a civil war. From the evidence we have, even they were agitating, up to animals, the army leveled all of them down. These same Niger Delta boys were having, they had sophisticated weapons that they were using. Because of order, sincere order, they put that thing down. So what is wrong? We have a military man in government, a former military officer. So why is it that these people, the fight is, it look as if we don't really want to do it, or we are constrained. I can't imagine X-Men will block the road, take people, lead them to the bush, and they will begin to call. And you are seeing the bush. At times, every checkpoint will be just 1 kilometer from that place.
From the point of
kidnapping. And these people will do it successfully. They will enter, they will collect their money, and nothing will happen. Maybe after some time, they will tell you they will go on exchange, they kill 5 bandits and show it on television. When over 2,000 persons have been kidnapped, when over 100 persons have been killed in a day, oh God, something is wrong somewhere.
Okay.
Something is wrong somewhere.
Let's look at the comment made by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, who said, I think it was on Friday, that high-profile Nigerians suspected to be financing terrorism have been identified and are currently being profiled. And someone said that this came to the fore because last year, I think November last year, it was reported that an appeal court in Abu Dhabi convicted 6 Nigerians for terrorism. So if that conviction hadn't taken place, do you think that this profiling of those suspected to be involved in financing terrorism would have been taking place in Nigeria?
Well, I don't have any problem with the profiling. The question I'm asking, will they kill all Nigerians before they will finally say these are the people? If you have identified them, you said they are profiling them, there's already evidence. What's stopping you from arresting them? These people, they are following people, they are killing on a daily basis. Those who arrested them in Abu Dhabi, those who persecuted them, do they wait all this time? You cannot be doing politics with everything. If you have identified a Nigerian who is funding this with the kind of situation we are now, and you are coming ahead to tell us that you are profiling them, usually you make such statements. But it shows that you are working, you don't want to carry out action. One would have expected, yes, we have arrested these people. They are under investigation, because when you arrest a criminal, it's not a criminal until a court of competent jurisdiction proves so. Okay. But that does not stop the person from being arrested. So why is it that in this situation, you are not saying that you are profiling them, you don't want to, you have not made any arrest, you are profiling them. You are already informing them to prepare themselves. Either they stop the business or to relocate. Because you cannot come to the public and tell us, I profile Nigerians, we are profiling them, you cannot call their name now, you have not arrested anybody. So what benefit is that to Nigerians? When people are dying? That is why I'm saying that these people, they are not taking action. They are not doing this thing with sincerity. If you have that kind of information, one would have expected, by now we have called their names. Let everybody go to their villages, go to their homes, look for their family. Because you cannot be funding people that is killing Nigerians, and you are enjoying the money wherever they will look for their family. So the government of the day should be sincere. They should fight this insecurity with sincerity. They should come out and do this thing. Let them just say they are doing something. Because even as far as I'm concerned, they are not doing anything. Because every action they are taking, it shows that there is sentiment. It shows that there is pity. Because I know that Nigerian armies can storm those forests. If worst come to worst, you go to the head. Put bombs there. Let all of them die. If we need to kill these people, maybe some, we have some people were kidnapped, something had to happen. Let it be that they have made the sacrifice for the country. Let's put that this is stop. But you can't be telling us they are there. We are doing our best, and your best is not good enough. Every day this thing happens. These people that they are human beings. The people that are dying on they are human beings like us. Today, people don't have food to eat. You are afraid if you are being kidnapped, your family will have to go and look for money. And the way this SPA are doing, the way they look at those boys that were rescued by those state government a few days ago, you hear their experience. How they beat them, what they did to them. These people were even traveling across the states. That is why I'm saying that each state government should think outside the box. You see what our government is doing right now. You don't need to go on air to start about what to form the strategy. You don't need it. You don't need it. You are a state government, sit down and do the needful. You are making noise about this. People that want to be, everybody is already aware of them. How will it work? The state joint vigilante that we have is hidden result. On Friday here, already those vigilante task force rescue a kidnapper at Okoro. A young boy was walking in his sight. Before I know, some people came, they took him away. And those people were on patrol. They trained them. A hot shirt. Along the middle of the show, they have to park the vehicle around the way, run to the bush. And those people were rescued by the vigilante. Because security issue, all especially is local. Yeah. And these people live within their place. The best way to go is local vigilante. Hold your community, I hold my community. I know where we enter my community and come out in another area. You, there's an answer that you don't know. The police, they don't know the place. So if we encourage all this vigilante and cross the country, hold the boundary. Even this area we have the bandit and all that. People live there. Yeah. Community people are there. They know these people. If you encourage them, if you empower them, my brother will reduce this issue of insecurity. 5 months ago in Benin, it looked as if it was war. But since this came aboard, it's not asking of time. They've all run to the forest and begin to kidnap in the highway. But thank God, what you saw yesterday, I mean, day before yesterday, they meet them, they enter the forest, and about 10 people were rescued. And the commissioner has said it's going to be a continuous approach. And also they said they use the drone to detect where these people are. If we can do that here, can't you do it in the same area where these bandits are killing? You just put the drone, the team will record, they will give you a sign that these people are here, this is their location, and you surrender the place. If the police and vigilante can achieve this, the army can do better. But the question is, why is this stagger way of approaching this issue? It shows that something is wrong somewhere. So I think they should come and take an example from the state. That is the truth.
I expect you to say that.
No, that is the truth, because when you are doing the right thing, you don't need to make noise. This government does not make noise about it. It's just doing what they need to do. I can't imagine a governor will go on there and be crying, weeping, that the president should come and secure a state for him. Why are you a governor? Okay, the president should come and secure your state for you. If the police are not working, the army are not working, Oga, go back to the local way of protection. That was what it used to be. Get your people. Let everybody defend his own territory. If we now know that you have done something, you need help. Help will begin to come. Not a city government crying. Crying will not solve this issue. What will solve this issue is that the people must rise up and fight back. The killing is too much. We must fight back. We must defend our community. We must defend our territory. And that is what we are doing in the Edo State. It's going to be a continuous thing. Because in my area, in our local government, when the immediate past chairman set up that vigilante task force in Oredo, it gave them healers. Before now, that Opa patrol is kidnapping on daily basis. I can assure you, sir, since we started this thing just about skeletal issue, they don't go through Okoromi, the river, they don't let that side and go to those people who are walking in the bush, just hold the person, quickly run away. The people are policing them. Our people have pursued them. And they ran, even leave some of their victims. Because they know where to go through. If they pick somebody around the Olo junction, you go and enter through baby because they will follow that river. There are no other place will through that river bank. If you bring in a police officer, he doesn't know the terrain, he cannot enter. So that's why we are appealing to the governments in Nigeria. They should go back to the local way of security and people. Let them go empower the vigilante. Look at this area. Do proper feasibility study in those forests.
Okay.
And know where these people enter from and where they are coming out from. Even if they have all the particular weapon they talk about, I think we can still go after them. If those people who were having the AK-47 ran away and left their victim behind, that shows that they discovered that a power that was coming to meet them is more than them. And if we go in this manner, we'll be able to overcome this situation we find ourselves. Let's not wait for Mr. President.
What do you make of a situation where these guys parade more sophisticated weapons? The case that you mentioned is just an isolated case. Maybe because the number of people that carried out that dastardly act were not so much. And when they saw the number of the vigilantes that were coming, they had no choice but to abandon their vehicles, maybe their guns, and run away. But you find instances where you have about 15 or 20 or 30 of these people, when they are in operation, all armed with AK-47 rifle. Under that circumstance, how can the local security deal with such a situation when you know that there is a legislation as to the extent of arms and ammunition such local security can carry?
Well, it's a concern. It's a serious concern. But what we are saying, if those persons can get those weapons and they are using it on our people, they did not manufacture those weapons. So therefore, my advice is that whoever that is in charge should look for a way to harm his people, to match what those people are handling.
Okay.
They are Nigerians, they live here. If they can get those weapons and use it on our people, then our people should also look for what will match them and give them fire for fire. Because the only way to stop this thing is to attack these people. If you don't attack now, it's going to be worse. They will take over this country. Because they already see themselves as a demigod now. They see themselves that the army cannot come over them. Because we are saying they are holding AK-47 and all that. If another person hold AK-47, it's a question of who goes down first. So therefore, let everybody come back within the community and prepare for these people. Because continue to give them money, in exchange, we are adding fuel to already existing fire. Somebody that is kidnapping you, you are giving him more money to buy more weapons. How did this AK-47 get to these people? Is it not through the borders? So who is allowing them to come in? Who is importing the guns to them? It's the same human being like you and
That's
I.
why I talked about the supply chain.
That's what I'm
is
saying.
Yeah.
Because these people have a very strong network.
Okay.
If they are doing it in isolation, in fear, why can't the government on their own say, okay, we want to train this set of people? We'll bring them and train them. Since the army have AK-47, they cannot overcome fight these people. Let us bring in people that know them. So that at the end of the day, we'll be able to reduce or at least stop this thing that is going on. Because for me, I believe that the only way to stop this new trend is to fight back. For you to keep these people and begin to beg them with money, other people will join. When the Niger Delta youth were doing all these things, they say, okay, now we'll give them money. Everybody, that was when they knew, everybody was interested. Not until it was put to stop. Because if you pay people that don't work, you pay people for committing crime, they are the same Nigerians like you and me. We all have equal rights. Then those of us who feel that, okay, that's okay, let people go and join them. So government should not agree to pay to release kidnappers.
To pay ransom.
To pay ransom. They should fight back.
But family of victims are paying.
Yes.
Families of victims are paying.
Yes, because their loved ones, they cannot keep quiet when things are happening. They have to look for money.
Okay.
At the level of the family, the money might not be as big as what government will pay. But if government now begin to agree You are giving them millions. You are encouraging these people because those money, they will go and buy more weapons. They will buy more vehicles. And they will strategize themselves. And even pay some persons who will be giving them information outside the place.
Okay.
Because mind you, I am very convinced that they still have some informer within the community who tell them the military just arrive at a place, this is where they are, or even within the military.
Yeah, of course. There was a report over the week, I think it was in Katsina State, where bandits came to a particular village to kill, maim, and destroy. What happened was that the community identified 2 people who were informants, or who are informants to the bandits. And I think they killed those people. And then the bandits, hearing this information, came for a revenge mission on the community people because of what they did to those informants. And that seems to be the crux of the challenge. You have people who are informants, who are in solidarity with these guys, who are providing information. Saboteurs, as they will call it, in the system that is helping this thing to. And then you also have local connivance, people who may not be from a particular ethnic extraction. Yeah, but you find that local collaboration to get these things done. I'd like to get your final word on this.
You see, I sympathize with those persons, and I want to say that if they were already aware that these persons were the one giving that information, and those persons were killed, one would have expected that the security agency should take over that place because they know that these people will come back. That is the way they operate. But what you see is that even when they inform them, they won't come. They will only come after the deed has been done. So that is my fear, that even within the security personnel, they still have their informant inside. And that is why their action is very successful. That is why the way they operate, they can go in and they succeed. Within the community, they have their informant, and they have persons who are the same ethnic group with these people who are doing this thing. And there's people also believe in their religious belief that what they are doing is right, and they live within these people. And so, when you are saying, let's go this way, they will say it's this way. Before you move, they will go and inform them. And they will come back for those people. It is still business for our security agency. The Nigerian military should do a surgical operation on the people in the field, on the operations they are carrying out, to see where they can actually look at someone and fish out some of these persons. Those days when Anini was operating in Benin, so people said the man vanished, he do this, he do that. It was not true. Okay. He had an insider who was giving him information that police will come out in the morning, the man will operate in the evening. If police is going to come out in the evening, the man will operate in the afternoon because somebody was giving him information. So when the person was arrested, in a few weeks, he was caught.
There could be that insider connection.
Definitely, I'm 100%
but there's no evidence to that effect.
There is no evidence. That is why they are very difficult to actually win this fight. Because some persons are telling them that we are operating from here. They might just tell them they are here. That is why they can cover them and kill all of them. Because somebody inside is giving them information. If not so, I cannot imagine that the Nigerian army that will know that, the Nigerian army that we know, that in Africa, there is, I don't think there is any other that can match these people. That it's not even a normal conventional war. They will just come and kill them on a daily basis. Something is wrong. Somebody somewhere is giving that information.
Okay, so the onus is on the security agencies to look inward and search out these saboteurs and deal with them decisively so we can make headway in dealing with the challenge of insecurity. And then, of course, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Malami SAN, says some high-profile Nigerians have been identified. They are currently being investigated and being profiled, and very soon the list of these high-profile suspected financiers of insurgency in Nigeria will be released. But Harrison is of the opinion that why make such a statement? Because in a sense, you could be giving them the signal to say, look, these guys may be coming for me. Yeah. I've got to cover my tracks and probably leave the scene. Because I remember, I think it was last week, a story came out of a supposedly NGO registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. The certificates were showed online, even though we couldn't really authenticate the source. Was banned by the German government for being found of this illicit trade of getting funding and then in turn funding Boko Haram, as it were. And I'm sure that there are several of such organizations that may be existing in Nigeria, getting funds from some of these nations in the Middle East that are financiers of terrorism and all of those things. But I'm sure that when we make up our mind to do the right thing, all of these things will be a thing of the right. Harrison Ezeko, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I think that is the best way to go. When we make up our minds,
yes,
this thing will be a thing of the past.
Okay, it's TMI Monday. It's been a pleasure talking with Harrison Ezeko, a civil society activist, former Oredo councillor. We'll take a short break.